Wedding ruminating with Elordi, wedding all time, V with Jackson, wedding of the century. Today is Thursday, 18 June 2026 AD. And here I, Tanis, here's a Seattle, ruminate about a duel of weddings. Me with my soulmate Elordi, vying for wedding all time, versus me with my soulmate Jackson, vying for wedding of the century. So I brought up, it was my health and wellness check-in this past Sunday of thinking of kind of wedding of the century kind of approach, and being like, wedding and waking mode, me not intoxicated, how to develop kind of a high quality standard for those weddings, even if it's just like a wedding in the backyard. So like a standards one. And so it was, and then kind of that, back in February 2026, I put out a video where I ruminated about my wedding of the century concept. And so I'll link in the video description to that video. But this is returning to that and being like, well, maybe there's a wedding all time and then a wedding of the century, which kind of makes a space for two. But there's a basic, I like this. So my Elordi, my Jacob Elordi, was challenged by my Jackson, my Michael Jackson, in this particular space. And so kind of being like, okay, could I make space in my heart? Could I share in my heart, in my actions, to open it up to two kind of spots? And so I've been working a little bit on thinking of basic criteria to like eligible weddings for each, and then which one, like the weddings, they have a bit different tastes, and so finding where our tastes overlap, like me with each of my soulmates, and then being like, what would be criteria that like would differentiate a wedding all time versus a wedding of the century, that would hold true before. So I got there before, so I'm on that one. Before, during, and after. Like it stands the test of time. And so I've been working on that a little bit. And so this is, I said it was 5 videos. So this is the what I'm kind of like an introductory in that sense, or overview if it's, you know, watching it after the others of. So one guy for the all-time, one guy for the century, and then differentiating out what would those standards be for each wedding, to preserve, right, that even if one is like all-time and one century, it doesn't, the all-time doesn't get the century. It gets the all-time. So like in preserving that in my memory and in our tastes and in the actual thing, like in the actual wedding, to be true of like winning one title, so to speak, doesn't give that person the other title. Okay. That is the design here, is differentiation. And then, was there another component to that? Oh, probably, that I'm forgetting. Yeah. So honestly, yeah. So it's a kind of a simple, just parsing out, is that the right? Parsing out, separating out, differentiating, and to preserve the uniqueness of each. And by covering 2, if these were like went 1-2 or 2-1 or 1-2, you know, like all time went 1, wedding of the century went 2, wedding of the century went 1, wedding all time went 2. It'd be cool to have like, do their tastes relative to each other change, and that brings one into existence before the other? Like it allows for a competition dynamic, or perhaps a better term might be refinement or self-improvement dynamic. So it's ruminating. So that's wedding ruminating with Elordi, wedding all time, V with Jackson, wedding of the century.